Hey, and welcome, folks. This is This Week in Prophecy. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. Last week, we began our show by asking the question, what is prophecy? And by the end, we just started touching the surface on the subject with our guest, Aaron Newton. Today, we're going to continue our discussion and get into some examples of prophecies and maybe even answer a few more questions. But before we do that, folks, I want to make sure you know this. If you're watching our show via YouTube, I encourage you to leave a question in the comment section. And if you'd rather write us, our email address is godstream7@gmail.com. And you can leave us a message at the end, and at the heading, just leave the message, This Week in Prophecy. So I want to bring in our guest today. He's a local prophet here in town. His name is Aaron Newton. And Aaron, let's bring you in real quick. Hey, how you doing, Aaron?
Hey, what's happening?
Not much,
Good to
man.
see you again.
Yeah. So last week was our first show. So how'd you like it?
Oh, it was great. I feel like I'm unburdening so much.
Unburdened. I know. Well, so we were talking about this last week, and we've been talking about it quite a bit, actually, that we've been trying to unfold this whole thing of prophecy for quite a while now. And it's taken us a little while, but we're up and running. And and so I hope today we'll actually get into some prophecies, which will be great, because that was something at the end of the show. Aaron was going, "Hey, wait a minute! I had so much to talk,
So much to say.
I know." And maybe we'll run a little longer. So we have no time limit here, but we had people who were. So did you check out the YouTube channel? Because people were actually going, "Hey, this is pretty cool."
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, yep.
So,
Kind of.
yes, I did, and
Yeah.
I just left a little comment.
Yeah.
More
Well,
meat next time.
yeah, more meat. So we encourage you, if you've got any questions you'd like to ask, anything. Yeah, there you go. If you've got anything you'd like to add to the conversation, maybe you've got a question for Aaron or myself, definitely leave it in the comment section on the YouTube channel, and we'll definitely get back with you as quickly as possible, maybe even the same day. So Aaron, so one of the questions we were answering, and we'll get into the prophecies too, because you've got a couple of them that we were kind of looking at before the show began. What is prophecy? I mean, let's once again just kind of let's drill it down just a little bit more, and because a lot of people, that's one of the biggest things they're asking is, what is prophecy?
It's a vision for the future. That's my biggest way to say it is a vision for the future, but it's not one person, one place. I mean, we read Old Testament stories about Elijah or, just other prophets, and it's usually about that person and what they went through. But I think today it's a puzzle, and there's pieces, and everybody has a little piece. And every once in a while, I'll hear somebody speak about something, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is something I got years or 2 years ago or 6 months ago or whatever. But the pieces, when they come together, it shows a picture. He shows you the end from the beginning. I feel like he shows me the end in the beginning, but then you need to figure out how to get there, which way we're going, just speak it, and, watch how things unfold.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes you don't get the whole picture. So,
Yeah, that's so true.
yeah. So sometimes you just don't get the whole picture, or in the case of what we're going to be talking about today, it might be a dream, and you're kind of going, well, what the heck does that mean? Who knows? So how do you want to do this? You want to let's just go into one of the dreams you had? Is that what you want to do today? And we'll talk a little bit about it.
This is two dreams,
Okay.
and it really also explains what we're just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's two dreams. The first one was Monday, July 28th, and the second one was Wednesday 30th, the July 30th.
Okay.
And so 2023, sorry.
Okay.
And I really think this might answer a bit of that, because how the puzzle is going to fit together, because after I'll give you three dreams that I sent you today that are connected, and you kind of see the end of the road, I guess you could say. But how you get there depends on prayer and time with God and getting other people to pray. Because, I mean, for me, I don't, we know that there's people have different roles, intercessors or um, prophets or pastors, but everybody has to play their role. An army has many different positions. Not everybody's in the infantry. And if it
Yeah.
was just infantry, it would, you got to have that support. You have the people that tell what the weather's going to be like that day. You have your air defense,
Hmm.
so anyways, I wanted to give these two. This was the 28th of July, 2023. So I was standing in a hospital hallway looking into a room. And I looked into the room and I saw a woman, she was giving birth. And I knew, and I could see her, I could see through her. She was translucent. It was like, you were looking through something, you could see the wall, the window behind her, you could see outside. And there was somebody who was standing behind me. He wasn't speaking, but it was like he was relaying everything I needed to know about what I'm seeing here. And so what he was relaying to me was that he wanted me to take all the dreams, visions that he has given me. And he said, take all the dreams and visions I have given you and start putting them together. And then you'll see what I'm birthing. Let's see. Start putting them together. Then you'll see what I'm birthing and what I'm saying. So I looked at the woman, she was giving birth, and it was like two pictures coming together. And it was like kind of like this. I don't know how to explain it. It was like you're losing the picture on a TV show. And as they came together, it became I couldn't see through her anymore. I saw the picture and it just wasn't I couldn't see through it anymore. So started put together. I looked at the woman. It was like two pictures that came together, and I couldn't see through her anymore. But I could still see she was giving birth. And then the man behind me said, "Throw your seeds of faith at her." And so I stuck my hand in my pocket and I threw my seeds at her. And he said, "Now that you've, put your faith in me, what you've planted, I'm growing it. I will protect it, and nobody can touch it." And then I saw people digging in the dirt. They were digging in the dirt under the planter, under the woman that was giving birth, and they were trying to get my seeds. And then I woke up. So, first thing, pray. What is this? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I have no idea.
No,
Yeah, what is that?
no word yet. Just
Yeah.
pray about it and wait and be patient.
Okay. It's very interesting. I mean, I'm kind of interested in the when you see a part of a dream and you're not seeing the whole thing, and because we've had this conversation quite a few times, and I'm
Sure.
sure that people are watching the broadcast right now. If you're just watching this for the first time, you're kind of thinking, "Wait a minute, that sounds familiar." I've got I've had similar situations like that, and if you've had a similar situation like that, I want you to write down your comments below us here in the comment section, and maybe we can get back to you and talk to you about what's going on. But the interpretation of dreams and the fulfillment of dreams, um, those can be mysteries that could last a week. It could last years before you actually
Years.
even
Yeah.
know what's going on. So what do you say to somebody? They're saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm at that place," because it's almost like a community, right? I mean, it's a prophetic community where that prophetic community is like, well, we're all kind of bosom buddies in this whole thing. I mean, we all have our different ways that we're hearing from the Lord, but there's a commonality, and some of it's frustration because you're given the word, the Lord's giving you a word, and sometimes it might be real clear, but in this case, like you're saying, you might be getting a part of it, and you're going, "Don't know God, I don't know God." So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I in the very beginning of my walk with God, when I really just became the spirit-filled Christian, he told me to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like when Jesus went from one place to the next, he walked, and it wasn't 10 minutes in a car. It took time. So be patient with things. The way we are, our society is fast food, high speed internet, everything go, go, go. We tend to push things aside because it's just not fast enough. But with that patience of waiting on the Lord, waiting for him, because I'll pray about a dream like this and they won't tell me for a long, like the next part of it was 2 days later, and it really did help put the thing together. But um, yeah, I'm waiting. There's other dreams I've had that I've been waiting 3 years to understand what's happening. But until it starts manifesting in reality, sometimes I'm just, okay, well, I'll tell who, I tell you, or
Yeah, sure.
Mrs. Ray, or whoever.
Yeah.
Of course, my wife, I wake her up at 3:30 in the morning, and hey, I gotta tell you something.
And she's like
But
going, go back to bed.
leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Like for instance, last night I had a dream, and I mean, in the dream, I remember thinking, I'm sleeping. I need to. When I wake up, I need to write this down, and it was like Jesus was in the dream. I'm watching battles, and he's telling me these things that are so important. And I remember thinking, like, oh my goodness, I'm waiting for this. I woke up, I didn't remember nothing. All I remembered, I was standing in the battle. And I went and prayed, and I'm praying, and I'm listening, and I'm praying, nothing. And that's happened to me twice. The first one was the same thing. Like somebody told me these things that were so important to my walk with Christianity. I wake up, I don't remember nothing. It's frustrating. It is, but I think there's a purpose behind that too. And I
Sure,
just
and
haven't
I'm
figured
just
it out.
wondering. So you don't remember one part of the dream?
All I, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm the kind of person I don't remember my dream. I mean, I remember them very. I generally when I have a prophetic thing, it's during the day. So if I have
Hmm.
a if I generally be a word of knowledge that the Lord's given me of somebody, but it generally is never in a dream form because I never remember my dreams. But I'll be praying over somebody, and the Lord will give me a word of knowledge about that person, or something like
Hmm.
that. Um, but in your experience, I mean, you've probably seen and been witness to a lot of different kinds of people um, uh, being used in the prophetic realm. What are the different kinds of ways you've seen people? I mean, you've seen dreams. What else have you seen?
Well, just like that words,
Mm-hmm.
there's a man that I know, and like on my way to, where our meeting or whatever, I'll be praying on about something, love, just Lord, I tilt my head like this, and I know that sometimes when I'm hearing from God and I'm tilting my head, and he'll be telling me about something or somebody, and I do this and I think, oh, I gotta stop doing that, and then I see that man and I'm like, hey, and he's like, sometimes when you tilt your head, he's gonna show you how that's okay. And I'm like, wait, what? you know, what are you talking about?
What?
Why would you even say that? And he's like, I don't know. The Lord just told me to tell you, don't worry, he's gonna help you with that, and he's gonna
so
fix that.
so what now?
And
So go back to that again. So somebody else saw you doing that,
no, the
or
Lord told him that when I, like, sometimes I'll see something about somebody,
yeah,
and maybe they're not living right or something,
okay,
and it's just this weird thing. Like I kind of tilt my head in as he's listening to me, and I'm looking at that person, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at,
mm-hmm.
and I do it like this, and I think sometimes people take it as a bad thing, or
Sure, yeah, weird,
because it's not always a good thing that he's telling me.
yeah.
And so somebody just came up to me and told me, like, hey, when you tilt your head like that, you have hurt some people, but God's going to fix that with you and you'll be fine. Like,
and
okay,
and it was
thanks.
just some,
I was in the car on the way to the meeting thinking about that exact thing. Like,
so it's just
me
some
doing that. Like,
random guy comes walking off the road and goes, "Hey, God
no,
told me to
no,
tell you that." What,
no, he wasn't a random guy. He's somebody that I know.
somebody you
And he
know then?
drops words to me all the time like
Okay,
this. Yeah.
good. I was thinking some random guy off the road. I'm going,
No.
so it would have been real cool if it had been like a donkey, right? A donkey
Right.
comes in and then all of a sudden the donkey says something to you, and I'm being facetious here, but it's happened
Sure.
before, so it's not like it never happened before, right?
True.
Yeah.
It's just but it just how different people work. Like that doesn't happen for me,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense to where I just walk up to somebody and like God will drop things about them instantly. It's usually
Mm-hmm.
um there's something that this person needs to be fixed, but it's never on the scale that this man does it. The way he does it is always, he always knows exactly what I'm dealing with,
Okay.
and says, hey, God's gonna open your heart, and you'll be pouring out so much love, like and it was just something I was praying about on the way to the meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's, like me, my things are usually dreams, and they're about a bigger picture.
Yeah.
It's not, sometimes it is about a certain person, but that person has to do with the bigger picture of what's happening.
Sure. Um,
So I think
so
that there's different places,
different
placeholders.
places. Yeah. You sent me three dreams that you had on. I think two were on. Well, they were on successive days. So, do you want to talk about those
Yeah.
at all?
Well,
What would you like to do?
let me finish. So that one I just showed you, there's a
Yeah.
second part to it, and
Okay.
I think it'll bring that picture together. So let me. So that was the 28th of July, was a Monday. This was Wednesday, the 30th of July,
Okay.
2023. So I was standing in the exact same hospital hallway, looking at the woman who was giving birth, and her bed had turned into a planter, and now there was plants growing out of it. So they were just like maybe 2 feet tall. There were small plants. It wasn't like a fully blooming bush or nothing. It was just like little one stream, little plants growing out of this planter. And so as I was staring at the planter, I was looking at the plants growing. On the right side, this door had opened, and it slammed open, and I felt wind coming through the room. And I could feel the wind like hitting me on the side. And so the person who was standing behind me, again in this, second dream, he said, uh, now he started telling me, prophesy to the wind. And as I did, I was speaking into the wind. I saw the seeds from the plants. The wind came over the plants and was taking the seeds from the plants, and it was like traveling throughout the earth. It was the weirdest thing. Like I was following behind it, and it was just kind of going over hills and valleys, and then it would drop somewhere in China where somebody was praying about something, or it would drop on another part of the world, and they were falling, and then they were getting planted there. But it took my words speaking to the wind to get pushed out to the other side of the world. So I mean, in what put, so the reason why I told you these two, because
Yeah.
he's telling me to put them together, and then
Okay.
you'll see the story. Before it was like dream, dream, dream. Okay, what does this one mean? What does this one mean? And
Sure.
now I'm seeing the picture when I'm putting them together and telling the story, because they're all pieces. Sometimes he gives me the pieces that I need. Sometimes he'll give me, and then somebody else a couple months later will
Mm-hmm.
have the next piece, and
Yeah.
you could put them together and realize that the fire is about to fall on God's people.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
that's just part of it. So that was what it was pieces. So I'll go to those ones that you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about,
Well, let me ask you a
unless you had any
question real quick
questions.
though, too, about the fire falling on. What does that mean to you? Because I know I've on God's stream, we keep up with a lot of people that are doing things in the culture right now, and they could be
Hmm.
pastors, it could be musicians, it could be evangelists and stuff like that. But I've been noticing an uptick in large evangelical, you know, ministries. And so, like the big tent meetings, you see the big tent meetings where
Sure.
people are going out there, and but but they're not tents. They're like outdoor stadiums, and
Sure.
they're not like 700, 800 people. There's thousands, about 10,000s of people getting
Hmm.
saved all the time. And if you didn't notice it, because it's never on the news, right? I mean, it's never on the news.
Yeah.
Uh,
Never.
yeah, but if you follow us on Godstream, whether it's on any of our platforms, we post it all the time because we look for stuff like that. Is
Sure.
that what you're talking about? A something that's going on right now? Is that what the Lord is showing you? That we're going to see an outpouring of the Spirit right now? What do you think?
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's so that specifically about the fire. I don't know if you remember. I
Mm.
told you I got it a while ago about fire falling from heaven, and it was like one, two, three, four, and it was just like, and they were like almost flaming meteor balls, I guess, falling.
Mm.
And this is God pouring out His glory. But if He just poured it out on everybody, we wouldn't handle it. I think there would be a few people that would, because they're in that frequency, almost, you could say. I see God's glory as snow on an old television set. and I could tell you about that too. But it's like, you know how when the TV used to go off in the 80s, and it would be
Yeah,
like they'd
sure,
play the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem, and the TV would go off, and you see those like
sure,
the little, and but
sure.
they were longer, and they were different colors, and it was like almost like you were staring at a frequency traveling, like a carrier frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I see is his glory falling slowly, one, two, three, four, five, and some, like I said, if he just poured it out on everybody, we wouldn't be able to handle it. Like there would be so many people who just, I don't know what to do. I don't know, I don't know what's going on with me. And then
I
there's
know.
people that I think that
That's
there's
fine.
people that would be in positions
Mm-hmm.
to
Sure.
take advantage of it as well.
That's true
So
too. Yeah.
I think he's cleaning up his house
Okay.
and pouring it slowly.
Sure.
But that's what I see. The fire is falling for sure.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, because it's been something I've been noticing that has been an uptick in it, and it's not like the Greg Laurie thing. Because you see Greg Laurie, who's a pastor out in California,
Sure.
and he has his harvest festivals.
Uh-huh.
1,000 people, 10,000 people getting baptized. It's more than that. I mean, there's a guy named Sean, and I'm going to screw his last name, his last name up. His name is Sean, like Foosh or something like that.
Okay.
It begins with an F. But I follow him a lot because the Lord is using this guy. I mean, a big time way. He kind of reminds you of a Brandon Lake kind of guy in
Mm-hmm.
a more country way. You know what I mean? He's
Sure.
got the hat on, he's got the hair, he's got the glasses, and he's got the kids though. He's got the kids, right? He's got the kids with him. They're traveling
Sure.
across the country, and the fire of God is just following these guys everywhere they go. But they're not doing like the big stadium stuff. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to small towns with 1,200 people. Everybody's getting
Sure.
saved. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like the whole town comes out, right?
Yeah.
And it's been amazing to watch this guy. So, anyways, I don't. I can go off on a tangent on this.
I
So
think it's great. I mean, God is going to use whoever He wants, and it could be like you had said last time about prophetic people being a little weird.
mhm.
Like I remember. I remember these two guys were telling me, we got to get you some leather shoes if you're going to stand up on the stage, and I'm like, I'm never doing that. I got Vans. I'll wear my Vans. I'll be fine. But, it's just, I think that like my kids were teasing me the other day. They're like, Dad, I see you wearing a black t-shirt and some cut off, some of my old army pants. I cut them into shorts,
Okay.
and black socks. And they're like, that I just love the way it looks, but you never look like everybody else. Everybody's a
That's
little
true.
different.
That's true.
So,
Yeah,
it
definitely.
is, it is, he wants you to be you.
I want
And
you to
of
be you.
course there's, he's going to change what he wants to change about you, but he wants you to be you.
Yeah.
You are Sherman.
Yeah.
I am
Sure.
Aaron,
Yeah.
and he made us individual for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if he just wanted us all to be the same, we would. What is the point in that? He loves his
That's true.
creation, and everybody's different.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, definitely.
So
Um, well, I'm excited about it. Some folks, this might be your first time you're checking out the show. I'm Sherman Ray, and this is Aaron Newton. This is This Week in Prophecy on Godstream. We want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast. I want to just remind you, if this is your first time you're watching the show, you're watching us on one of our channels, especially if you're like on YouTube or something like that, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, and we'd love to hear what you think about the show already, because I know this is a huge topic that people are talking about all the time. We've already had people saying, "Man, I can't wait to see something like this get on the radio or on TV." And also, we want to encourage you to go to Godstream, because it's on Godstream. It's under the prophetic tab over there, so it's got its own little place, and we're really excited about putting that on. So today we're actually talking about prophecies themselves, and so Aaron was kind of sharing it in the time we have left, that a couple of prophecies that the Lord had shown him over the last week or so. Let me ask you a question. This is really off topic. I'm going to throw you a loop here.
okay,
During the assassination attempt of President Trump, or now the ascendancy of Kamala Harris to
Sure.
being the Democrat presidential um, nominee. Did the Lord give you a heads up on that, or did you hear of any inklings of that coming? Was it
No, I
come as a
didn't.
complete surprise?
I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Only a few times have I ever dreamt about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
It was before he was indicted on the charges. I had
Mm-hmm.
a dream that, and just real quick, I was at this amusement park and everybody was wearing these shirts that said "Friendship Team,"
Yeah.
and it was almost like the lake around Disneyland, around that island. I can't remember the name, of Tom Sawyer Island, where you get
Yep.
on the boat and you just go
Sure.
around. And there was a boat, and I got on it, and they had him in a cage, and he was sitting in the corner, and he was just kind of cowering down. And I remember I came up, and they were looking at me, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here to help you." And I mean, there was a lot more to the dream, but
Sure. Sure.
it was basically, and this was a while ago. I
Mm-hmm.
had told, I think we were
I
still
don't think you ever told me that.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that was a while ago. I have to look it up and find what the date was, but it was quite a while before that happened. I don't really. I have to. These ones that we'll talk about here,
Yeah.
they have to do with government and stuff. But
Okay.
no, he didn't. He didn't tell me anything about what was happening. And
Okay. No, I was just wondering. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about the one you were talking. Do you want to talk about the one on the 21st, I guess, or the 20,
no,
the
I'm gonna do.
October 23rd? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna do.
I'm
I'm gonna
sorry.
do the one from the 17th, the 20th, and then the 21st,
Okay. Go
because
for it.
they're all parts
Sure.
together. And so let me do that. The first one was really short.
Uh-huh.
It's short, but man, it just, you wake up and you know something is happening. So it was the 17th of October in 2021, and these are things that he's. I have these dreams, and I had this dream in 2021, but now he's telling me, remember, remember, remember. And I'm putting them together. And as I'm reading through all these dreams, I'm putting them together and seeing, oh, this one goes here, and this is another piece of that puzzle. So this one was, I was standing almost in space, and I was looking down. There was like stars under my feet, and they were just kind of gathered. But I saw God, and he had this double-edged sword, and he was slicing people. I saw these people walking, and their heads were down, like they were um, had problems. They were just in a bad way. Maybe they were, having anxiety issues or whatever. But all their heads were looking down at the ground. And he was walking through, and he was cutting people in half. And he said, "Time's up. I'm cutting them. I'm slicing them in the spirit, and they're gonna start falling in the natural."
Oh.
And so, yeah, that was
Yeah.
like I saw. I mean, I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, that it was for sure God, like I was in heaven, but I was in outer space, you could say, and there were stars under my feet. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But I saw, this long robe and this long beard, and he just had this humongous sword, just like slicing through people.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that was pretty. That was
And that was
2021,
2021.
October 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our October 17th, 2021. So then, as I'm reading through, it's like, put this with this one. So this was the 20th of October, 2023. So 2 years
2 years
later,
later. Sure.
I'm standing on the shore of Lake Mead
Mm-hmm.
in Boulder City. I'm
Yeah.
standing on the shore, and I see all these boats tied together, and they're it's like a party, and it's like all these rich people have these big huge boats, and they're all tied together, and they're just having this big party, and I'm watching them. And then I see these policemen. They get in their boat, turn the lights on, and run out to the party, and they bring back somebody, and he's like a 20-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid, and he's just wearing like surf shorts. And they put him up against the wall, check him out, handcuff him, take him away. And I'm like, wow. And then they did it again. They went, after a little while, they went out again and brought back this person. They were arresting him. And I asked one of the cops, I said, what's going on? Were they just being stupid, like just being drunk and stupid? And he said, no, they're being arrested for treason.
Wow. For
And I
treason.
remember thinking to myself, yeah, for treason. I remember thinking to myself, like, well, I hope he's innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around, not the way that we see today, where
Sure.
you're guilty and you have to prove your innocence.
Sure.
So, and I knew in the dream that these were all sons of rich and the elite.
Wow.
senators, congressmen,
Yeah.
very rich people. These were their sons that were being taken away.
Okay.
And so, yeah. So, and then the next day, let me find it here. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, give me a
The
second.
20. Yeah, the 21st it was.
The 21st.
Yeah.
Give me a second here. I'm putting it on
Yeah.
my. I put it on my computer, but for some
Yeah.
reason it's
No.
not in
If
order.
you want, I'll read it
Give
for you,
me one.
Phil. I've got it right here in front of me.
Hold on. Come on. I want to read it because. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you
Yeah.
read it if you like.
So this is October 21st in same year, so it's the next day. It says I was with a
Yeah.
group of people and we were standing watching people that worked for our government from the lowest positions to the top who were corrupt, who are planted there by other countries. They were being convicted of treason, and then all the good Americans, the people, were holding hands and were in a circle, were encircling them, and they had a choice. Huh. They could die for treason or be sent to the countries they came from, or worked for, like Somalia and Palestine. So this was the 23rd of of
Yes,
excuse me, October 21st of 23, and there's more.
that was the next day. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's the next
after
day.
that.
So these people worked for Somalia or Palestine. You said you saw that you saw Rashida Tlaib, who had tears running down her face, and she said, "But I'm an American. You can't do this to me." Then the judge said, "Well, death it is then," and they took her away to be
Yeah,
executed. Wow.
yeah. So, um, in this, those people that were standing, they were all in this group, like all smashed together, and there was Americans who were patriots, and we were all holding hands,
Hmm.
so they couldn't get away. And when he said, now you've been convicted of treason, we can send you back to uh, and it was specific, Somalia or Palestine. And I thought to myself, like,
Hmm.
Somalia. I know who's from. I don't know if you know who's.
Sure.
It's another congressperson from
Sure.
Somalia. But and when I saw her, she was just crying, like, "You
Hmm.
can't do this to me. I'm an American. No, And he's like, "Okay, then,
Yeah.
death it is."
Death it is.
And so these two dreams, 2 days in a row, putting them together, you it's he's telling the story of what's gonna happen. We're
Wow.
seeing what's coming.
Okay.
And if not only just prophetic people, just anybody whose eyes are open can see what's happening in the natural. People
Yeah.
are standing out and some people are not standing out, and
Yeah.
then they go quiet for a while, and then they're holding signs while the prime minister of Israel is here. And
Sure.
it's just, I mean, it's pretty, I think some of them are very cut and dry. Look, here
Sure.
it is.
Hmm.
I don't know when or exactly how or how long it would take to do it, but my faith in what God tells me is strong,
Yeah.
you know?
So Aaron, let me ask you a question. So I hate to put you in a box here and what you're,
No, go ahead.
so what do you see happening? Because I know what, and so for those of you who are just watching the show right now, this is the This Week in Prophecy, and Aaron Newton here is talking about several prophecies had not just a couple of days apart, but these were a couple of years ago. But the Lord brought these back, quickened the spirit to bring them back up into light now, saying, "Hey, these need to be brought to light now." And so we're trying to figure out what the Lord is saying here. But we do know this, that last year we had a lot of a rise in anti-Semitism here in America,
Yes.
and it came as a result of um, Hamas attacking Israel. And when Hamas attacked Israel, it opened up like a door to the biggest anti-Semitic folks in the nation. Some of those actually are our sitting congresswomen. So you have
Yes.
Andrea. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, you got Rashida Tlaib, you've got all these people, right? All of a sudden they come out and they've got this throng of people that are also doing the same thing. last week, Benjamin Netanyahu. No, it was actually this week. Benjamin
Yes.
Netanyahu comes to town, and he's going to address the full House of Congress. And Kamala Harris decides, hey, I'm not going to show up. And so she's but she met with him afterwards, of course, in private. But she would not be seen with him in public. And then in public, there were all kinds of people that were just, upset that he was here in town. And you would have never thought that happened here in America. But what you're saying here, are you putting those dreams that the Lord gave you? Are you saying that that's part of what we're seeing happening right now with people who are, this anti-Semitic cadre of people that are, we see here in government right now?
100% is so. There was a prophecy that I heard a long time ago from Kim Clement, and basically what he said was there's a nation itching for a new war, a war unlike anything ever seen.
Yeah.
And so these things takes time, right? So long for people to infiltrate. If you have ever read The Art of War, it takes so long for people to infiltrate and cause chaos. These people who are saying it's okay to burn down buildings or protest in the street for these things, they're saying it's social justice and we need justice for these people. But we truly are one of the only friends to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about like the United Kingdom or Australia, but we are like their big brother.
Yeah, sure.
We supply them with weapons. We supply them with so much. Of course, God will protect Israel, but we being so blessed, we tithe to the world, but Israel is, there's a vein in the spirit, you could say, between us two. And so for people to now start causing hatred for Israel, and we know what Israel plays, their role in the Bible is huge, and so for us to turn away from them because of this social justice stuff is just dark.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
Yeah, I think you're
right.
And
it's the leaders who are pushing it,
yeah.
not this grassroots thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Gosh, boy, Aaron, we're gonna have to end here in just a second or two because I know it just, man, time flies so much. But there was so much here. It's so much here that we're gonna. So a lot of people are talking about this already. They're saying, hey, we probably should have this on more often. And we've been talking about that too. But I'd love to pick up this conversation in our next broadcast. Also, folks, if you're watching this, you can get this. Not only can you get this on YouTube and Godstream, but this broadcast is going to be on Spotify. So it'll be up on Spotify and it'll be on Apple Podcasts probably about 15 minutes after we're done with the broadcast here. But we want to encourage you just to look it up. It's called This Week in Prophecy. And I think you're going to really enjoy it. So anyways, Aaron, once again, I want to thank you for being a part of the broadcast. We're going to see you again in a couple days. And we'll get on.
We can do it. You want to? Yeah. We'll talk about it. Yeah. We'll do it soon. Really soon.
We got to get back on and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But thanks again, once again, brother. I thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast. And we will see you again on our next broadcast, okay?
All right.
We'll see you in just a bit.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye. And thank you guys once again for being a part of the broadcast. I'm your host, Sherman Ray, for This Week in Prophecy. Didn't you enjoy that? I think it was a great broadcast. So once again, I want to encourage you, if you've got any questions, you've got anything, definitely leave it in the comment section below where we can check that out. And also be sure that what we're able to get, if you got a question that you just want to answer off screen, just send us a question at godstream7@gmail.com. That's godstream7@gmail.com, and we definitely will get back to you as quickly as possible. Wow, time flew by so quick. Hey guys, this has been Sherman Ray for This Week in Prophecy. I want to thank you for being a part of the broadcast. We will see you again in just a couple of days here, guys. So you guys just stick around, okay? We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.